Welcome back to the Comstock channel. I'm Marlon Bowling with you. Thanks for joining us today. And today I'm, welcoming aboard Ed Kessel, the president of the North Dakota Grain Growers Association. We're going to talk about the upcoming growing season, and it's already upon us, the way it appears. Be sure to like this video and share this video with friends and relatives. And if you would, click on that bell icon below to get notified when we have new updates coming out. All right, Ed, let's talk about the growing season for 2024. You're obviously out there kind of in the fields. You're out on the farm, and you were telling me before we started the recording that it seems to be a little bit concerning how warm it is already. What is the deal right now?
Yeah, Marlon, thanks for having me on. We've had an open winter, for the most part. Even into January, some of the frost was already out of the ground, but moisture's been very light. It's been warm temps. Right now, there's very little snow anywhere, a few banks and, on some side hills and things like that, but it's all melted off. We're getting close for spring.
Now, it's about spring wheat time as you get ready to get that in the ground. How early do you dare to actually plant it right there?
Well, crop insurance, our planting date's March 27th, the first date on insurance, so we won't go before then. It's not unusual to be in the field here in March. I'm in the southwest corner of the state, but our normal time frame is probably that first, second week of April would be a normal plant date for us.
Well, I used to farm in the Central Plains on the Kansas-Nebraska border, and we always figured that we would get a warm spell sometime in March, and yet we would get a late winter storm. You always had one in March or maybe early April. Is that the case where you are too?
Yeah, for the most part. We've had that a couple years back. We've had about 1,000 acres and caught a blizzard and never got back into the field for another 3 weeks. So as soon as conditions are fit, it's in our best interest to get going.
Now, what kind of a crop did you come up with last year? There was a lot of concern about the northern plains there for a while and southern Canada. But what was the actual result after that growing season in 2023?
Well, the crop on my farm was probably a little bit above average. We had some that was a little bit poor, some that was pretty good. We missed some rains in July in certain areas that really set us back. But overall in the state, the spring wheat crop especially was above average. I think it was a record crop for North Dakota last year.
I noticed on the prices here lately, I know it's been a tough go here for the wheat complex as a whole. But Minneapolis does maintain a premium over Kansas City and Chicago wheat. Maybe it's not as much as it normally would be, but what do you attribute that to? Just protein content or what?
Well, from what I'm hearing, spring wheat exports have been good. So that's what's been holding that market at value. Even with the high price of that spring wheat is to the world market, the buyers are seeing value in spending the money for it. So we've just been getting hammered by, of course, Russian Black Sea exports out there and competing against our market, but exports have surprisingly been okay on spring wheat.
Well, I know we did hear of some Chinese purchases of soft wheat, but then we also heard of cancellations, and I haven't heard much about spring wheat. I imagine that the buyers that buy spring wheat don't do such large quantities, and it doesn't make the news wires.
Well, we get consistent buyers on weekly tenders. Japan's a big market. Philippines are a big market. Domestic market's a big market. So generally 50% of spring wheat is exported. So that's what makes the difference in the price that we get. I think this year they even were able to send some wheat into new markets like Bangladesh, areas like that. So they're always looking for potential, but we've had some regular customers, and Mexico is becoming a very good customer for us too.
Have you had much in the way of changes in the local basis in the northern plains here lately compared to where we were maybe a year ago?
Right now our basis is probably about average. We struggled at harvest. We had a horrible basis at harvest, and it was hard to market anything then, even though now that was probably the right move. But it just felt like nobody wanted it then, but the bases come around now, the futures have fallen off.
So what about the farm economy where you are in the northern plains? Is that as stressed as other areas, do you think, right now?
I think it's very similar. The one advantage we have in the northern plains is we have several different crops to choose from. Pulses are holding in there with a good price. although malting barley is going to be down, sunflowers are down substantial on price. And of course we grow corn and some soybeans, not so much in my area, but there are some. So that's probably our one advantage is we're not reliant on, one or two crops as our major.
Now, the North Dakota Grain Growers Association, you actually work with barley growers as well, right?
Right. We do domestic policy and education and trade policy for wheat and barley.
Okay. So how is that crop looking for this year? And when I say that, what I'm getting at is, have you talked with growers about their maybe their intentions for spring wheat acres and barley acres this year in 2024?
Yeah, I think 2024 barley acres are definitely going to be down. A majority of the barley grown in North Dakota is in the malting side, and beer consumption's not what it used to be. So a combination of that with the maltsters have had high acceptance rates in the last couple of years. A couple crops the acceptance rates have been above average. So they're sitting on inventory and they're not looking to build on that inventory at this point. So the other side on barley is the pet food is a major market, becoming a major market in North Dakota. So that has been stable business, which has helped. So, but barley acres will be down. Spring wheat acres, I feel like they're going to be down. There's, even though the price is above the other wheat classes, I don't think, it's not commanding any acres by the price right now. So it's going to vary by, every corner of the state's going to have a little bit different idea what they want to do. I know my area, I think a lot of those acres will be replaced by canola, some pulses, and, but wheat will still be a major portion of the acreage out here, but it's going to be, I feel like it's going to be down a little bit.
Now, compare your area to farmers in southern Canada. How do the crops and the soil moisture profile compare right now, and the overall ag economies?
Well, I think overall, you look at the drought monitor is probably real similar for us and through the whole northern plains and into Canada. I've seen couple of weeks back, a large portion of Canada was in pretty significant drought. So our crop mixes are probably very similar, Western Canada. So, and, geography wise, they probably get a little bit cooler, which helps them. My part of the state, we tend to catch a little heat in July. So we try to have our crops off or finishing out by then.
Interesting stuff. All right. Well, thank you for the update. I appreciate that very much, and best wishes to you and everybody up there in the Northern Plains for a good growing season this year. Goodness knows we could all use one. So I appreciate the update. Hopefully we can catch up with you down the road. All right.
You bet. Thank you. Anytime. So appreciate you having me on.
All right. Thank you, Ed. Ed Kessel. He is the president of the North Dakota Grain Growers Association. That'll do it for this episode. For producer Brianne Hendrickson, I'm Marlon Bowling. Catch you next time on the Comstock channel. Thanks for joining us on our Comstock YouTube channel. Don't forget, you can also find us on Facebook and TikTok as well.